Hello, I'm going to be talking a little bit more about the Liverpool bomber in respect of conversion to Christianity, which is a very interesting new development. But first, I'm going to explain to you why I may be looking a bit different, and I'm sure the sound isn't as good as it should be. And I'm really sorry about that. I'm just doing my best until I get a new microphone. The problem was this. I had this as my main recording equipment. I put it up there on a hook on top of my computer, and I'd record my videos. And then I would transfer the video from my phone to the computer, and that worked very well. There was an Android to Mac program called Dex, which I used every time, never failed, very good, until it got upgraded a couple of days ago, and now it just a nightmare. So that's the problem with upgrades. And so I couldn't use this, I couldn't rely on it. I could record on this, but I couldn't rely on being able to transfer the file over. So instead of that, I'm recording on my computer, and I'm using this Yeti microphone. And it picks up all sorts of other rubbish as well as me talking, that rubbish too. And it's also that I don't think the sound is that good. The Yeti, when I got it, it was supposed to be one of the best, but I don't like the way it works. So I'm going to keep this video quite short in case the sound is just irritating. But I did want to talk about new developments that have happened in information that's come out about the Liverpool bomber. You see, what happened was that it turned out he had converted to Christianity. Here's a picture of him with the bishop or the archbishop or whatever at Liverpool Anglican Cathedral. And apparently he was a very devout Christian. And this was the couple who took him in. They say he was a genuine Christian. You know how con men work. Con men work in one way. They play on people's reluctance to admit to themselves that they've been fooled. And this couple was fooled. It says here that he was an absolutely genuine Christian with a real passion for Jesus Christ. That's what they say. It's just not possible. What he did was not the action of a Christian. Look, what he did was he rented a place in April, and then he started buying bits of a bomb between April and November. Between April and November the 11th or thereabouts, he knew he was planning his own death. And he was also planning to take as many people with him as he could. Now, the fact that the taxi stopped in the car park of a hospital, we don't quite know the facts yet, but the hospital is apparently very close to the cathedral. So it looks like he intended to go to the cathedral. I mean, it makes the most sense. You don't blow yourself up in a hospital car park. And November the 11th at 11 o'clock, his bomb was timed to go off at 10:59. And we don't know whether he meant it to be 11 or he just mistimed it. So it very much looks like he intended to go into a church at a ceremony honouring our glorious dead during threats that have come to this country and over which we have prevailed. And he was going to take with him the bishops, the women with babes in arms, the old soldiers, the volunteers, the kids band, you know, the lot. That was quite a big bomb, and within a cathedral it would have done a lot of damage. So this was not the action of a Christian, was it? And yet this guy here, what's his name, Malcolm and Elizabeth Hitchcock, they took him in when he said he arrived on April the 1st, which is entirely appropriate for somebody about to play a huge practical joke And he was there in 2017. He was with us for 8 months, and during that time we saw him really blossoming in regards to his Christian faith. He had a passion about Jesus, and he was absolutely genuine. I was in no doubt by the time he left us at the end of the 8 months that he was a Christian. Well, no, let me think about that. He was a Christian. He was about to blow up a load of Christian people in a Christian church. You know, that doesn't seem to me like the action of a Christian. Now, what else do we have here? And then there is something that I didn't know about, but has come to light here. It is apparently now a practice for Muslims coming from war-torn parts of the Islamic world, and they are converting to Christianity. Now, some of them will be genuine. Having seen how things don't go so well in Islam, it's quite possible that some of them are thinking, well, maybe Christianity is a better prospect. But this article here says that the Church of England is facilitating the apparent conversion of people who are not really that interested in Christianity at all. So let's see. And they're investigating the Church of England now. Well, quite frankly, I think the Church of England is a fall guy in this respect, because it's not them who are responsible for letting in these waves of people with various sorts of religious fanaticisms and possibly mental instability as well. Now, there is something here I did want to bring up. Oh yeah, here it says, the Home Office believes that changing religion is now standard practice. I was very interested in those words, changing religion, like you're changing buses. You can't change religion. You might convert to Christianity. You don't change religion. The fact that they are using those words, changing religion, means they know it's all a gigantic hoax. And it's the Home Office who are doing this. It's not these guys. I mean, they're taking advantage of a system, but the Home Office is what is allowing them to do that. And apparently this guy converted in a 5-week course. I don't know what the Church of England thinks it is, but 5 weeks isn't enough to change your religion or to change your attitude to cultural norms. 5 weeks is nothing. I've had a cough for nearly that long. I went to the doctor this morning and finally gave me something that seems to have dealt with it. You know what? Trying to get a doctor's appointment when you have a cough now it's not that easy. If I'd have said I had leprosy, they'd have seen me more quickly. But when you've got a cough, you know, oh, it's COVID. And, you've got to answer this questionnaire and you've got to tell them. They say, do you have a cough? And I've got to say yes. And then they don't want to see you. The fact is that a lot of people have coughs without having COVID. Anyway, that's a side issue. So that's it. The Home Office is letting such people in. It's then rejecting their asylum applications. And then the standard subterfuge is to say you've converted to Christianity. You go to the local Anglican church, you do 5 weeks porridge there, and then you're a Christian and you can stay. On the grounds that, having been a Christian, you can't go back to a Muslim country. Doesn't anyone have at least a little qualm about that? They're thinking, oh, well, of course, if you're a Christian, you're going to get persecuted if you go back to a Muslim country. Doesn't anyone have any feelings about that? Why? We have Muslims living here and nobody expects it to be a matter of course that they're going to get persecuted. And these other countries, well, we take it for granted. Of course, they're Muslims. They're going to persecute Christians. And nobody is thinking about the cultural lunacy of that. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to stop here. And I think you've probably heard enough of this awful sound quality as well. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the Graniopteryx design or Grambo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.graniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.